Okay, so we're gonna go over write line and read line in this demo, and we're gonna go over some things that we've already talked about, but might be a little confusing to you guys. So when we create any program here, you can see that the code already comes with this line, console.writeLine hello world. Now, as we discussed before, I didn't write the method writeLine or the class console or the namespace system. And a namespace is just how we uh, organize different libraries. So don't get too caught up on that. But for now, we'll just run the line console.writeLine hello world. As you see, it displays hello world. WriteLine just displays something on a new line on the console. It's just a means to have an output displayed in the console. And as I explained in my video before, console.writeLine can be called with many things: a string, a character, an integer, a float, a double, even a boolean. So false is just it's a boolean value, it's a boolean literal. So it's true or false. That's the only values that it has. As you can tell, displays the C first because I'm still calling this line, and then it displays false. And that's it. It's just, we can have an operation and display the result. That's just a nice way to have an interaction out from our program. That's it. That's if you have any questions about WriteLine, let me know. But it's pretty straightforward. What's confusing is readline. So as you can tell, when I'm running this piece of code, and I am just it just runs, it doesn't stop, it just displays C, then false, then it ends. So there is nothing here to do with having the program wait for you to input anything. Really, what allows you guys to input any information is calling the method readline. So I have this code here. If I run it, it's going to give me this space to put something into the console, and that's what's allowing that. But if I just put any value here and I click enter, nothing happens because the value falls flat, because I'm not allowing it, I'm not saving it, I'm not doing anything with it. And so this is really useless line of code. But in order to use this, then I would have in this example, have a string, and I will create a variable and set it equal to the console.readline call. And as I explained before, I'm not saying my bar equal to a function literally. I'm just saying it equal to whatever is coming back from readline. And what is coming back from readline is what I input here. Now, as you can tell, nothing else is happening, and that's because I'm not doing anything else. I'm saying that I'm saving the value in my bar, but then I'm not referencing that back. So if I wanted to make sure that I save that information, I can just simply call WriteLine, and so to double check that I'm actually saving the variable, as I displayed this in my last video, but I just want to make sure we go over one more time. So here I'm putting my variable name, not in quotes, just a name. And so this will allow me to have an input. Let me stop this. It takes a second for the program to run, and I'm not displaying anything back, so I'm not sure when that ends. And it just kind of messes up with the console. But if we give it a second, it displays it back. So just to let me know that I can input, I'm going to have a prompt show up, and it'll be with the string. Say enter your name. Okay, so with this code now, it should display enter your name, and then this read line is allowing me to have an information, input information, and then I'm just simply displaying it back. So it's very easy to use strings with readline because the function itself is returning a string, as you can tell here. Now, how do we use this with other data types? And this is where we are going to use the casting methods that are already part of our system library. So one that I've used in class before for integers is called parse. So here I'm just parsing 34, which is this is a string, but this is a numerical string that is able to be parsed. So have this here. If I run this, this should be no problem. So your name is still calling those lines of code. I'm not doing anything with parse, but if I wanted to, if I could create another variable called parse square, where I'm just multiplying parse by itself, and this should be impossible if parse is not an actual integer. So I don't really know how much is 34 times 34, but there's one way to find out, and that's by displaying it in my console. So I'll display the parse squared. Should not give me errors. Did I misspell something? Oh, square, not squared. So if I run this, it'll give me the prompt from before. Displays my name again because of this right line, and then it has another right line where it displays what 34 square is. So this is important because we'll be using casting on whatever is coming back from the read line. Another way to cast is to use the convert to int 32. Parse and convert to int32, they both work. They're very similar, and I'm sure they have different uses, but for our purposes, they're identical. So again, I'm going to come over here, tell it to convert to int32, run this. It should have the same values. 1156 is what came out before, so we can see that it works. I want to give you guys a crash course on the convert class. So the convert class is coming from the system library as well, class system.convert, and it can be called, you can use it to convert to many things. So these are just weird data types that we haven't dealt with, that I'm honestly very rarely ever use. But then we have more familiar data types like Boolean, which is true or false. We have char. We have datetime, which we haven't talked about, but there's a data type to keeping track of time. There's a decimal, which we won't get too much into decimals. We'll stick with doubles. So there's a double. There's the different types of int, which is just bigger or smaller ints. They have their an int can only be so long. An int 16 can be only half as long, and 64 is like a big int, which can be it's longer than int 32. And then we have this toString function, and that seems to be it for it. There's many ways to cast, but I just wanted to introduce you guys to the convert function because it'll become useful in case we need to convert what is coming from the read line to a double or to a boolean, etc., etc. You guys can find many casting functions online that you can use. I'm just giving you guys a quick introduction to them. If this is a topic that it's confusing, let me know and we can talk more about it. Just know that this is basically converting this string to the actual 34 integer. And this is relevant because we'll be using this with the readline function. So when I comment these, and then we're going to move to a line that is literally working with this concept coming back from the console, and info from the console. So here I have a line that says my int equals convert to int32. whatever's in the console. So I'll change this line of code, the right line, and say enter any number. And then I'm going to convert it, and I'm just going to display it at the end as an integer. So I'm going to call readLine with the variable that is an integer. As you can tell here, readLine registers the int parameter. So it's enter any number. That's not a number. That will give me an error. So that is a number. Now, if you guys want to see the error that comes back, if I give it, so there's an H at the end, so this is not going to be able to convert this, and it gives me an error. We can, again, convert the read line, what is coming from the read line, we can convert it into anything that we want. So this is the example of a double. So I'll give it a decimal, and it comes back. You know, it's able to write that back, and again, we would use this in operations if we wanted to. Just know that the right line will display anything that you want into the console, and it can sort of give you instructions. And then the read line can be used to literally read a line, and depending on the value that we want, we would use a casting function to convert that value into the desirable data type. I have a lot of examples here. You know, mainly I was having doubles. I was having the string. You know, I was converting back the double to string form. So here is, you know, convert to string my double. So I'm converting the read line to a double, and then I'm doing it back to a string and displaying that. I just want you guys to know it's, you know, any conversion is possible, and if we need to use any conversions that you haven't seen, I'm going to make sure you guys are aware. But the concept is very, very similar, and this is just simply how we operate with the input and the output using console.writeLine and console.readLine. This format is very necessary. You know, what line 25 is doing is saying, hey, there's something coming back from the console, and I want you to convert that to a double, and then I want you to save that value into a variable that I can reference later. And so here I'm referencing it again, and what this is saying is, hey, convert this double into a string form and assign it to this variable, and then I'm displaying that variable with WriteLine. If this is complicated, let me know, but this is all for this video.